I found out my girlfriend that I've dated for a few months had a threesome multiple times with two of her gay friends. I, 25M, have been dating this girl, 24F, for a few months, and have been taking to her for a few months prior to that. We went to school together and know of each other, and met at a party and talked for the first time and really hit it off. Things have been going amazing, absolutely amazing. To keep things simple, she has two best friends that are gay. One of them is her ride or die. They go on vacations all the time. When they get hotels, they share a bed. When I first found out about this, I didn't have any reason to be weird about it. I trusted her and knew that they were platonic. After all, he's gay, and she tells me how gay he is. This next part I'm very much not proud of, but it got me where I am right now. I don't know if ignorance is bliss with something like this, but I snooped on her phone. I wanted to see what she said about me to her friends. I know it's a violation of her trust, and I am very regretful I did do something like that. But I did it, and unfortunately, I can't change the fact that I did. I was looking at the messages, and found a message to one of her girlfriends saying how she hopes I don't find out about the threesome. Interesting. So I did some more digging and found out for a few months, she would have threesomes with her two gay best friends at various times. From what I saw, the last one was a month into us talking. I'm writing this, and my heart is still racing, and I can't form a sentence to save my life. I think I'm having a panic attack? I don't know what to do. I know I can't bring it up. I'm wondering if I should just forget about it, because from what it seems like, she didn't do any of that stuff while we dated. I think she is really into me, and is worried if I find out I'll break up with her. I love her so much, and just don't know what to do. She still hangs out with her gay best friend and they take trips, and I don't want to be someone who tells her she can't cause they're friends and all of this. What do I do? Edit, we had established we were exclusive when we started talking for about a week. Edit, M2F. My girlfriend told me she was pregnant, so I had arranged to move all her stuff out behind her back. If you only read the title, I might sound like a bad guy. But I'm not. I've known I wanted to be child-free since my early teens. My parents didn't oppose me, but they did say I could change my mind. Since I'm not an only child, they'll still get grandchildren. When I was 20, I got a vasectomy. When I was 22, I met my girlfriend. I've been open about wanting to be child-free from the very beginning. I remember telling her about my vasectomy, but to be honest, I think there was already alcohol involved. So I'm not sure if she remembers. We were dating for a year and a half when she moved in with me. I'm now 25. 2 weeks ago, I got home from work, and my girlfriend was standing in the living room smiling. She showed me the positive pregnancy test. Thinking it was a TikTok prank, I played along. When she didn't reveal it was a prank, I knew what had happened, but I continued playing along. That night, I got up at midnight and started sending emails. I took a week off work and emailed my best friends the details, telling them to pretend they knew nothing and be prepared. The next morning, I left for work as usual, but I didn't go to work. Carl, one of my friends, was waiting outside. He had a cap and a hoodie ready for me. The whole week, we followed Katie, and on day 3, she met up with her affair partner. We followed them to a motel, and then Carl followed him to his home. The guy was married with kids. We devised a plan. I convinced Katie to go to her parents' house to tell them the good news last Saturday. While there, I gave my friends the keys to my home. At Katie's parents' house, we had lunch with the parents and siblings first, and then Katie told them the good news. Everyone was happy. After a while, I got a call I had to take. It was my friends telling me they were done and ready. So I asked to make an announcement. I pulled Katie aside in front of everyone. I bet they thought I was going to propose. I started by telling how we met, how much she meant to me, and ended with, "And that's why it hurt so much that you cheated on me and got pregnant by someone else." The room was silent. Katie looked shocked. She started telling me it wasn't a funny joke. I said I'm not joking. The moment you told me you were pregnant, I knew you cheated. I got a vasectomy 5 years ago, and I go to checkups every year. So if you're pregnant, you have cheated." At that moment, her phone rang. I told her to answer it. It was probably AP's full name. You know, the real father of your baby. Probably wants to talk about you moving in. Not sure if his wife and kids are going to like that. What happened was that my friends had loaded up everything of Katie's in a U-Haul and brought it to AP's home. When they called me, they were in front of his home for the final part. They rang the doorbell and asked the AP where they could put her things. He was confused, and they handed him and his wife a folder with pictures of him and Katie. And Carl said, "Since OP is kicking her out, she needs a place to stay. We're just here delivering her things. And since you don't want the woman who is pregnant with your child to stay on the street, we assumed you would take her in." AP called Katie, yelling that she ruined his life and he never wants to see her again. After hearing him scream over the phone, I said, "Oh, so his wife doesn't want his mistress and their affair baby living there. So you'll have to stay here. With your parents." With that, I walked away, leaving a crying Katie and her confused and angry family behind. My friends brought the U-Haul with her stuff to her parents' house after the AP refused to accept it. I went home where my sister was waiting for me. She knew everything. This was not part of my plan, but Carl knows me so well. I broke down and cried in my sister's arms. She stayed the weekend taking care of me, allowing me to grieve and process the betrayal. Small update. It's been a week since I dumped Katie at her parents' house. My boys cleaned out my home and brought everything of Katie's to her parents. But because I didn't have time to mark everything that was Katie's, the boys didn't take everything that belonged to her. And they even took some things of mine. So I called her sister to arrange a meeting to exchange our belongings. The sister agreed under one condition: a sit-down with Katie to hear her out. I would have just left everything there, but the tablet had some pretty important work stuff, so I agreed to hear Katie out. But I made it very clear that there was no chance of us getting back together. Katie was a shadow of her former self. She started with small talk, but I quickly told her I wasn't there for that. She wanted to apologize. Here is where I almost lost it. I wanted to yell at her for destroying our relationship. I wanted to yell that I can't accept a simple apology for destroying my trust. But I didn't yell. I was quiet. I didn't accept the apology, I also didn't reject the apology. I just said nothing. She asked why I never asked why she did it. I said there was nothing she could say to justify what she did. So it didn't matter which excuse she came up with. She said she really thought the child was mine because we weren't using protection, vasectomy with yearly checkups. And she was hoping that I would change my mind about being child-free as soon as I saw that she was pregnant. I told her that was a very dumb assumption and she clearly did not use any protection with her affair partner. She told me she thought it was unfair of me to expose the affair to her family. I didn't have to do that. My response was, "That's right, I didn't have to. I chose to. Just like you chose to cheat on me, just like AP chose to cheat on his wife. These are just the consequences of those choices." She asked me if we still had a chance if she aborted the baby. I told her keeping or aborting the baby wouldn't change her betrayal. She can do what she wants, we are not getting back together. I was done, I heard her out, she didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. So I got up and took my stuff and was about to leave when she said, "I love you." My response was, "No, you don't. If you loved me, you would never have betrayed and hurt me like you did. I loved you, but you destroyed that too." With that, I left, and I could hear her sobbing. I've also learned that the affair partner is kicked out of his house. They are divorcing. He ended it with Katie because he blames her for ruining his life. I don't know what Katie is going to do with the baby, but it's not my problem. Ex-racist asked son-in-law for forgiveness. Many years ago I, 40M black, met my wife, 40F white, when I was a younger man. When I met her, she had 3 children from her previous marriage. This didn't concern me because I had 2 children of my own. We decided to build a family together, bringing our children together under one roof and raising them as one big family. Like it typically goes, when you meet a new person, you get introduced to their family. I am a city boy, all my life. I moved to my wife's hometown in a rural area. Like literally maybe 4 stoplights, maybe. Which wasn't too bad, because I did live in the area for 4 years when I was younger. Now in order to picture my wife's father, just think of the guys from Duck Dynasty with the long beards. To picture her brother, just imagine a big redneck. He wouldn't be offended by me calling him that, matter of fact, he would probably yell out very loudly. Hell yeah I am. When I first moved in with my wife/girlfriend at the time, her brother and father were very disrespectful to me. Calling me names that aren't my name. Riding dirty bikes and 4-wheeler in my front yard, just stupid redneck crap. I remember early into our relationship, my wife's father and brother asked me to go hunting with them. I will never forget my wife's response. Don't go into the woods with my father and brother, don't do it. Which for the record I was a young black man in a rural area, there was no way in hell I was going in the woods with 2 rednecks with guns. I may not be the smartest man in the world, but I'm not a complete idiot. Early on in our relationship, my wife told me that her family would call her an lover behind her back and things of that nature. She told me a story about how her grandfather was in the KKK and she suspected her father had participated briefly in those activities back in the day. Which wasn't hard to believe. Well, this went on for a few years in the beginning of our relationship. Then one day out of nowhere things changed. I went to my father-in-law's house to pick up our son. When I got there, my wife's father came outside and asked me if I had a few minutes to talk. So we sat down and he opened 2 beers. What came out of this man's mouth next I was not prepared for. He said, "Hey, I just want to apologize to you. You know, a few nights ago I was sitting there drinking a few beers and I got to thinking. Why do I dislike you so much? Then I realized it was simply due to the color of your skin, and I want to apologize. I grew up in a time where schools were segregated and things were a lot different. This does not excuse my behavior, I know it's wrong. I'm just an old man trying to change, but it's hard." I was sitting there thinking to myself, wow, ever since my daughter married this black man, her life has improved. My grandchildren are doing great in school, better than they ever have before. Which I put a lot of work into that, especially during the summer months, so they can stay on top of things. My daughter finally was able to go back to nursing school, because of your help. The quality of my daughter's life has improved and she seems very happy. You know, I was sitting here thinking a few nights ago about her first husband. For some reason I liked him more than you, then I realized it was simply because of his skin color. He was white. As I was sitting there thinking about this, I said to myself, this is ridiculous. Her first husband, as you know, is a piece of S*******. He didn't help out with the kids. He wouldn't hold down a job and he wouldn't help my daughter around the house. I've always been a big helper around the house, cleaning and doing chores, always have been, always will be. Doing chores and cleaning simply don't bother me. Can you forgive me? Obviously the answer's yes. I'm a big proponent of change and everybody deserves a second chance. Also, I want to maintain a good relationship or a better relationship with my wife's family. After that day, things between me and my wife's family changed for the better. No more disrespectful talk, just family getting together having a good time like it should be. I'm glad to report that over the years our relationship with her father and brother have gotten a lot better. We drink, we smoke, we hang out together and cookouts. When I see her father and her brother, they always give me a big hug. I can confidently say that her brother has become a good friend, somebody that I know would have my back in a rough situation. Even her brother has told me before how much he noticed the improvement in his sister's life once I entered the picture, and how much he appreciated everything with his nieces and nephews. He always praises how good the children turned out. Small side story. I was with my wife's father and my best friend once. They came over to help us move. We were sitting down taking a break, planning out the next thing to move out of the house. When my best friend, white male, jokingly said, Make the black man do it, ha ha. My father-in-law went clean the F off on my best friend. He raised his voice and started cussing at him. He told him not to ever talk to me like that again. My father-in-law told him that I was a good man and to not say things like that. Anyways, thanks for reading. Tired of my broke boyfriend. My boyfriend made a lot of money with crypto, and because of it, he's also lost it all. We've been together for 8 years, and I've supported him through all the ups and downs, and I wonder if my loyalty is worth it. I'm F28, and seeing my friends move in and get married with well-adjusted/normal men is making me resent my boyfriend, M28. He worked one bad office job at 20 and decided he never wanted to do that again. He quit college and decided to pursue entrepreneurship instead. A couple of failed businesses and a dangerous ride during the crypto era have left me exhausted. 2 years ago, when I was broke and looking for a job, he decided to take us on a trip. We had a great time and I paid for all my expenses with money that my parents gave me, but he paid for the accommodation. Now, he has just charged me for my contribution to the trip. He's so broke, he's now inventing charges out of thin air. This, the utter failure in his professional life, the lack of financial security in our future together is making me doubt whether he is someone I should be spending the rest of my life with. I'm jealous that my friends get to go to restaurants and order dessert without looking at the bill. I'm jealous that they get to move in with their boyfriends, knowing that the bills would be paid on both sides. I'm jealous that I perhaps didn't have the self-respect to find a better man to be loyal to throughout my 20s.